Pinheiro-Cadd. It's good to see all of you here. Get this mic where it needs to be. It's a wonderful, wonderful turnout this morning. We've still got a few more people coming, but we're a couple minutes late, so I want to go ahead and get started. I'm really happy to welcome you to the 10th Conference of Cultures and Languages Across the Curriculum. Welcome to Drake, or welcome to Des Moines. I had a few people mentioning the cold weather. Sorry, I can't do anything about that. How many of you are at your first Culture and Languages Across the Curriculum conference? Wow, special welcome to you. Suronda will have some things to say. We're really happy you're all here, and thanks a lot to the members who come each year and support the organization so much. We have a really excellent program. I'm sure if you've taken a look at it, it's really impressive. I've been to a couple of these, and I think this is, well, I'm a little biased, but I think it's the best one. I want to say a special thank you to Katie Dale, our administrative assistant. She's done so much work getting ready for this conference. Also the members of my department, World Languages and Cultures, and a lot of my students have helped put this all together. It was definitely a team effort, and I had many, many video conferences with many of you to help plan this and get it together. So I'm standing here, but you all did a lot of the work too. I have a couple of logistical things to mention. We have, this morning for the first two sessions, we're going to be in 4 different locations. 3 of them are in this building. One is in Meredith Hall. If you go out the library this way and look kind of northwest, it's the black glass building. It's the only one that looks like that on campus. That's where the clearinghouse will be later today as well. 201 is another room we're going to be using. It's on the other side of on this floor. You can go straight through. And then there's a classroom down in the basement that we'll be using as well. 45 is down there. I hope on that half sheet of paper that you saw how to connect wirelessly. I hope that's working for you. If not, if you have any problems, we have technologist here. Where's Clayton?
He took off.
He took off. I guess he figured everything was working, so he took off. Yeah, great. Last thing, there's one additional cancellation that I only found out about last night. This is at session 3, option 2. That's from 4 to 5:30 this afternoon. Victoria Shevchenko will not be able to attend. So we'll only have 2 presentations. That's session 3, option 2. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to a great conference, and it's my privilege to introduce our Provost here at Drake, Sue Mattison.
Welcome, everyone. And I've spent the last 5 years in Green Bay, Wisconsin, so this is flip-flop and shorts weather to me. Welcome to the 10th annual conference. What a great group of people coming together for such a wonderful purpose. We're so pleased to share this day with you all today and tomorrow, and to learn from each other, to be able to provide the most outstanding experiences and opportunities. Most of us know how life-changing it can be to learn new languages and new cultures. Here at Drake, we believe so strongly in the power of global learning that we've included it in our mission statement. We're preparing students to be responsible global citizens. Certainly there have been challenges in the past, but we do have a focus on that mission. So as an academic, I do need to give you all a test to start out the morning. So what's the most commonly spoken language in the world? Mandarin, Chinese. And second? Spanish. Very good. I'm talking to an educated audience. You know, to me, learning a language, it's like magic. When you learn how to speak Spanish, you instantly can communicate with 6% more of the people on the planet. You know, what a gift that is. I have a daughter who just graduated from college this year. She was a recalcitrant language learner. She went to a very progressive school which started learning Spanish in kindergarten. And so she had an opportunity that many of us don't have. But when she was 13, I enrolled her in an immersive summer camp, month-long experience up in the remote northern Minnesota. Probably many of you are aware of Concordia language villages. Yeah. And she did not want to go. She picked Arabic language camp. She didn't know Arabic. She didn't know the letters or the language. She picked the camp back in the winter when the thought of leaving home for a month, seemed very remote. But as we were driving up there, she was crying and not wanting to stay, and it was immersive. They did not allow English spoken, and she didn't have a cell phone, and there was no technology in the remote of Minnesota, and she participated grudgingly, and the letters from those days were just priceless. But then when she got home, she told me that there was one day, and she had been learning her letters and learning the language. There was one day she was sitting in the cafeteria, and she just looked up at a flag that was on the wall, and it was written in Arabic, and she realized that the letters spelled the name to the camp, Al-Waha. And she was really proud that she was able to read it. And then she looked at another one of the flags, and it was stylized writing, but it was also the name of the camp. And she looked at all the flags hanging in the cafeteria and realized she could read them all, and they all said the name of the camp. And it was such a transformative moment for her. It just opened up her world. We compared that to Helen Keller learning a language. When she learned how to speak, it was such a wonderful thing. And certainly that's what you're doing, opening up worlds for students and clients and multiple people. My daughter just finished an internship in Chicago helping with refugee resettlement, so truly you are changing the world. As for me, I'm woefully lacking in language proficiency, although my grandparents were immigrants to the United States 100 years ago. Although I do have proficiency in two important areas, the things that I heard the most at home. I can pray in two languages, and I can swear in two languages. Those were the words that I heard most often. But I've had the outstanding good fortune to visit many cultures, and I try to learn as many words as possible before I get there, and certainly if you don't practice them, you tend to forget. But I found that I really only need one word, and thankfully it's not a swear word. And so many of you know this word, and tak, danku, shnora kaluchin, that's Armenian, gracias, Danielwad, shukran. So thank you all for being here.
Good morning. I'm Suronda Gonzalez. I'm the chair of the CLAC Consortium. And it's very nice to see some familiar faces and many new ones. Some of you I've only seen in 2D for the past 18 months, I think, since our last conference. It's great to be here in Des Moines and at Drake. We've all, for many years, heard about Drake's innovation and excellence in international and language education, so it's great to be on the ground and see how it's working and what the discussions are like. I want to thank Marc, Pinheiro-Cadd, and his team. This has been a phenomenal effort, and they've done a great job in organizing. We've had several meetings. He was up late last night, emailing. I saw emails from him. I also want to thank the Conference Planning Committee, and to say that all of us who've worked so hard putting things together sail on the coattails of those who've hosted before. So thank you to prior hosts as well. As the chair of the consortium, I will put in a plug for those of you who are not yet members to join and to become involved with our group, and there's several ways to become involved. Tomorrow morning, Saturday, 8:15, where would you be? If you could be nowhere else, at the business meeting for CLAC. It's in Kyle's Library 201, is that here? Right here.
No, 201's the one over there.
Okay.
Same floor.
Same floor on the other side. Everyone's welcome. We'll be talking about upcoming projects and upcoming meetings. We have a proposal from University of Denver, DU, for hosting in 2018, which we'll be reviewing, and some other things as well. Please come forward and join in. You can speak also to one of the officers, if I could ask officers to stand. Cindy Evans from Skidmore is vice chair, and J.Y. Joe from Stockton University. Speak to one of us about becoming an institutional member. And if I could ask our newest institutional members to stand. From institutional members this year,
Yes.
right?
Robert Weska from Trinity University, just a week ago.
A week ago.
I'm Danielle Salas from the University of Colorado. We joined a week ago. Lisa Sansucci from Cornell, we joined in the fall.
Yep.
Deb Reisinger from Duke University, we joined this summer.
Okay. And all institutional members, I mean, a little bit of exercise so that folks can see who are the institutional representatives that are here today. Okay, I think we have, I'm thinking 26 in total. This is a pretty good turnout of institutional members. So you may have someone at your table or near your table who you can also talk to about becoming an institutional member. Another way to be involved, like right now, is to tweet at CLAC_org. Is that right, Allison?
What?
What's it?
Yes.
At CLAC_org. Hashtag CLACCon16 is another way to be involved as we go on throughout the day. I'm looking very forward to the sessions and the keynoters. I looked at the initial program and I see representation from 30 institutions from north, south, east, and west, private and public, four-year and liberal arts colleges, Research One institutions, the K-12 system, and the Defense Language Institute, language faculty, other subject experts, administrators, and teachers. So we have kind of a swath of higher ed represented, and the connection to K-12 is too. I'm looking very forward to the plenaries from Dawn Whitehead, who's way in the back, from AAC&U, and from Richard Kiley, over here on my left, from Cornell, to talk about this subject of responsible global citizenship through CLAC. It seems to be of utmost importance, and I realize I painted a really negative picture as I was looking at my comments here, as the liberal arts are under attack, where there's an increasing, to me, backlash against intellectualism, where language study is being underfunded at the federal and state levels, and where international students, if you read this latest, an article like 2 weeks ago in Inside Higher Ed, are increasingly afraid to come to the US to study. CLAC, I think in many ways, has a lot of possibilities for softening some of this and for creating new paths for meaningful use of language and culture and understanding the ways it fits into a quality undergraduate education and developing global citizens, not only in our students, but in ourselves as well. So my hope for this meeting is that we can, as a group, support one another in our work, refine our mission. I think it's time for us to take a look at that again, precursor to the business meeting, and thinking about ourselves as an institution, and to continue to develop best practices that enhance our students, our scholarship, and again, our own development as responsible and self-reflective citizens. And so this group for me has been a life source. It reinvigorates me both personally and professionally for what I do. The connections I have here are like none other. And I sincerely hope that we will become involved in this way. It is a group that shares resources, we'll talk a little bit about that in a second, that shares passions, and I have developed a lot of mentor relationships with people younger and older that is kind of on an informal basis. We've talked about formalizing that some more, that have been enriching in ways that I don't have the time to recount. So please, I invite you to join in and as we learn from one another. We have an exciting unveiling coming up of a project that we've been working on for forever. And it provides another opportunity for you to get involved immediately. That's the CLAC Clearinghouse, and it has been a labor of love and sometimes frustration. It's amazing the frustration that you can hear across the miles from Minnesota to New York State. Did I mention I'm from Bingham University? I don't know if I said that or not. But we've been working on this, and I'd like to invite Caleb Zilmer and Dan Soneson from University of Minnesota to talk to us about the clearinghouse.
Thank you, Suronda. For me, it's nice and warm. Coming from Minnesota. It's a pleasure to be here today to introduce this tool to you. This is something we've been talking about in the CLAC Consortium ever since I've been a member, which is 2010, I believe. Every time we get together, we talk about how wonderful it would be if we could somehow or other share resources with one another. We come together, we talk about the programs we've developed, we talk about the models we've developed. It's become a valuable resource, this conference, particularly for institutions, people at institutions that are contemplating beginning a CLAC program, incorporating more cultures and language across the curriculum, options within their institution, and so on. And at the end of every conference, we sit down and we say, wouldn't it be nice if we could actually do this more ongoing, in a more ongoing way, and online. So at the last conference in Denison, we indicated that we were ready to get started, and Carla at the University of Minnesota volunteered. It was part of their project. Their Title VI Language Resource Center. Part of their project was to enable us to develop what we called at the time a syllabus repository. And we unveiled that term at the conference, and that immediately became discussed. A repository sounds like it's lying in some tomb somewhere. And what we really want to do is have an interactive, living resource to which members and anyone really can contribute, and you can take away and adapt and then give back to the resource and so on. So we took that as a directive, and we developed, or we established an advisory board and sent out a survey last summer asking for what people were interested in doing and having, and it always came back that it needs to be a living, interactive, conversational tool. What people are interested in having there are not only a syllabus options, but lesson or unit plans, training materials, program descriptions, research, articles, and so on. We asked them in the survey, what one wish would you have for the clearinghouse? And one is, we got a number of responses. We want to be able to find lesson plans. We want to be able to solidify the CLAC community. We want to get ideas. We want to have a collection of primary sources with exercises and so on. We want a set of best practices that we might be able to take advantage of and build on. And the one comment that stuck in my mind is, what would you wish most for this CLAC clearinghouse is, quote, that it would materialize. It has. And what we want to do is show it to you really briefly. This is the clearinghouse. It's housed at Carla. And you can link to it from Carla. If you have a machine, if you have access to the internet right now, you can come in and you can set up an account if you like. But why don't we go right to it? Okay, let's go to the searching. And what we have here is a set of materials. Wait, let's go right back to the Carla one for a second. I do want to acknowledge, if we scroll down to the bottom, our advisory board. And it's myself, it's Bernd Estabrook from Illinois College, Suronda from Binghamton, Allison Nishi from the University of Denver, Deb Reisinger from Duke University, J.Y. Cho from Stockton, and Caleb Zilmer also from the University of Minnesota. And we chose the term advisory board advisedly. we don't want to be a review board. We want to be an advisory board. We want this process to be a very collaborative one. We want to invite you to submit materials. We want to invite you to participate in the online conversation. We want to collaborate with you to get those materials online. And what we've done is we've set up a submission process, and the submission process asks you to participate in that submission. So you would create something, and then you would move it on to the next stage where someone else picks it up. And then we move it back, and then you add materials and you move it on to the next stage. We'll show you that process in a minute. But just to look at what the clearinghouse contains is we have, at the moment, we have 8 resources. And the resources vary from class syllabus with activities to self-assessment activities to program descriptions. And if you just want to click on one of them, sure, kind of what the... So here's a business class that provides an abstract and a description of what the resource is, and it provides you an opportunity to download the materials, and those materials usually are in PDF format, but they can be in a Word doc format or however. And it identifies what kinds of materials they are. So here, this is a syllabus and activity. It indicates who authored it and where it's from, and connection to the various CLAC models that I think you'll be hearing more about this weekend. What languages are involved, and then some additional information in terms of how you might use these materials, what context they've been used in, and so on. So we invite you to explore the clearinghouse. We invite you to think about what you might contribute to the clearinghouse, and we're delighted to have as many contributions as we can. We do have, our advisory board is there to ensure that we're not just uploading a pattern drill from a elementary language course, but ideally we're there to help you get those materials online and to help people find those materials for you. So what we want to do, how's our time? How are we doing that time? 15 minutes. Oh, we have 15 minutes? Great, okay. So, basically, the clearinghouse we like to call it beta. And we've worked through this, as Suronda indicated, this advisory board has met online more times than I can count. And we've gone through, and people have been submitting things, and well, this process seems a little wonky, and that process seems a little wonky. Let's see if we can't make it a little bit more streamlined, make it a little bit more user-friendly. One of the things that we did was, again, based on the input that we got from you all, we got together with a programmer at Carla who was able to put this thing together fairly quickly, and he used a tool called Drupal. Some of us are aware of Drupal, and some of us are very happy with it, and some of us are not so happy with it. And it's the advantage of Drupal is that there are a lot of these nice modules that work very nicely, but they're not very easy to manipulate, and it's not very easy to change. So what we have is a process whereby if you have some materials to contribute to this resource, you would first submit an abstract, just to see if this is something that would fit. And you get a response, and the response would be either, no, this doesn't look like it's something we're interested in, or this looks very interesting, send us materials. At that point, you gather your materials, you write a larger description, and submit the materials, and then our advisory board looks at those materials, and it gives you some advice as to how, what's missing, or how can you make this more accessible? What context, you haven't mentioned the context you use this in, for example, and give you a chance to kind of modify that. And then we look at it again and publish it. So that's the process. It's kind of a two-step process. And we started out having the advisory board revise every step of this and decided that was far too cumbersome. So again, the idea is let's submit an abstract really quickly, get a quick response, and then proceed to the next step. So what we're going to do is show you briefly what that looks like. So first thing
Sign up, right?
is the sign up, yeah.
So the display here is a little bit sideways, but if you want to follow along on any devices, I encourage you to do that. So yeah, the first thing to do will be to sign up an account. I think we can all do this right now if you want to. Hopefully this site will keep up as far as processing.
The site is carla.umn, just open up the Word document. carla.umn.edu/CLAC, C-L-A-C, capital letters, /clearinghouse, one word, .html. Can you see that?
Yeah.
That's the site that's on the flyer that you have in your, that was on the table when you registered. And that takes you to Carla's page, not this page. Takes you to Carla's page. And from there, there's a section called Submissions. And if you click that link, it takes you to the home page of the clearinghouse itself. So click sign up. And if you click sign up at the top, you can create a new account. And then you just enter your name, your institution, put a username and an email address, and put the email address in twice, and then create the account.
And incidentally, just a quick mention, you can browse all the resources without having an account, so that's open to the public. Anybody can find those and make use of them.
But in order to submit something, you need an account.
Have an account.
So go ahead and log in. You?
Yeah, that's me. The display is rather expansive. Let's see if we can. That's a little bit better.
All right, so once you're logged in, there's a submit button up at the top. It's up here.
I'll go back and do that again.
So if you click the submit button, the first thing you need to do is enter a title. And when you enter a title, that creates the node for that resource. And the title you can change eventually, but what you have to do is just create the node, the resource itself. And when you do that, you click Save and Continue. And on that page, you can see you also have a tab to submission guidelines that outlines the process that I just outlined, and also how we'll be looking at these things. So what kinds of things we'll be looking at. We should not call that evaluation rubric, we should call that guidelines, probably. So once the title has been created, you simply enter some text in the abstract box. And then scroll down. And what kind of materials are these? Is this an activity? Is this a syllabus? Is this, what is it? And we have a list of things here, but you may not fit in that. So tell us what it is you're submitting. And if it's something that we can relate to, or we think, hey, that's a great idea, we'll just add it to this list so others can choose that same type later on. And then you would indicate what institution you're at. And again, if your institution is not listed in this drop-down list, write it in the field below. You can just enter it in the field below, and then it'll appear in that list subsequently. And save it.
And incidentally, this is a very important step. In order to save it, you need to change the state. And this sends an email to the editor letting him know, Dan, that it's there and available, and that we should all move it through the process. So select ready for review.
This is the point.
Continue.
As I say, this is the collaborative point. This is when you say, okay, I've changed the state, I'm moving it to the next state. Right? One of our frustrations was, we just need a submit button. And that's not the way this works. That's Drupal, I guess. So what you need is choose from the drop-down list, ready for review. Go ahead and do that. Save it.
And part of the reason for that is that you can save and keep on working on it before sending it off to the next step of the process. So if you need to come back at it later, you can before it's been, moved on.
No, you don't need to. So I've just looked at it now, and I've said, boy, this looks really good. Why don't you submit the materials? Refresh it. And now there's a materials tab here. And notice that abstract is locked. You can't go back and change that. But you can click the materials tab and fill out the information there. And this is where, we're not going to do it necessarily, but just go ahead and scroll down even further. And you can, sorry, go up with it. Here's where you can determine what languages are being used. Go higher. Languages are being used, and basically, we do have the option now of choosing any language, but don't choose that one. If this can be used for any language, let's look at the word none as no restrictions. Okay, there are no restrictions by language, so this is a restriction list. This is good for French, or this is good for German, or this is good for Italian. You can specify that, particularly if you've got a French syllabus, specify it's for French. But if it can be used for any language, then don't restrict it, it's none. And at the very bottom is where you can add a new file. That's where you upload your file. And then again, click at the bottom. Let's not do it. At the bottom, you're going to change the status again, step 1, to ready for review. So that's the process. You change things, you make it ready for review. Change things, make it ready for review. Now we're going to be looking at it, and we'll send back a message to you saying, you know what, we'd like a little bit more in context, or why don't you say this about it? And then get back to you. Or we say, hey, thank you very much. It's on the website. Go look at it. Anyway, that's the process. And we are having a session this afternoon from 5:30 to 6:30 in Meredith Hall 125. It's a computer classroom. And if you have stuff that you want to submit, we'll walk you through the process. What do we got, 2 minutes? Questions? Yeah.
So who are the authors on this? If I submit like our Indonesian instructor's syllabus for his FLAC, he's the author as far as I'm concerned.
I would think so, yeah.
It's not Cornell, right?
No, but it's probably at Cornell University, right? So we have an institution and we have then the author of the materials, yeah.
And we can have several institutions and several authors on any resource, right? Because there may be cross-institutional collaboration, so all institutions can be identified as being part of that resource, whatever it is.
And eventually that'll be searchable too. We'd love your feedback on this. We get kind of tunnel vision working on this as a group. And boy, having now a larger group to experiment with this and give us feedback, we can only make this stronger.
I'm just going through it, so I'm at rubric. Some hot links would be great. You know, it says model. If I wasn't familiar with these terms, just a glossary.
Yeah.
Hot links with a glossary, then I'd be able to...
To the models.
Yeah, you know, for somebody that... There are a lot of people that teach in it that haven't formally studied, and so they can match it up in a more, accurate way if these have links.
Yeah.
Some of the materials I have are kind of rough, like the Yoruba students are doing group translations from English into Yoruba. Or I've got like a corpus in Indonesian of vocabulary the students are working on in Google Docs, through Google Docs. So at this point, they're kind of rough. Is that something you would want to look as an example of kinds of something?
What do you all think? Suronda?
Can I ask people when they speak? It's hard to, I'm way in the back.
So the question is the student work that are kind of translations,
It's sort of rough.
projects.
They're kind of, it's interesting that they're in progress, so it's kind of rough right now.
So I would classify that as student work, right? Stuff that students have produced in this project. So the question is that something that would be useful, or it would be something that you all would be looking for? Think about it. We have a day and a half. We're going to revisit this now twice yet. We're going to, this afternoon and then tomorrow at the closing session, we'll be talking about this some more.
My
Suronda?
initial response to that is I want to see what the assignment and project was, as maybe as well as the results of the final product that the students came up with. So it would be good to have the whole package.
The sample assignment and then...
Right, and then if the links to their project were external to the clearinghouse, they would be housed at Cornell, for example, or wherever the student housed them.
You just link to it.
That could potentially be linked. I think it would open up an avenue to see what are the potential products that students can develop for the exercise.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, particularly, we'd probably say, boy, tell us what the assignment is. Give us the details of the assignment. What it's basically, a lot of this is what it's useful for is, hey, they're doing this over there. I bet I can adapt that and do this assignment in my context. We have to move on, but thank you, and we're here all day.
We don't have a break built in right now, but why don't we take 5 minutes and